Hi, everybody. We are currently live. Welcome to today's talk. Over here, we do have our Slidos, and you can access that to answer some polls and some questions for later. But let's get straight to it. So today we are joined by Julien Baudin. He is presenting on how to escape the play safe trap. It's a fresh perspective on breaking free from its constraints and embracing a more adaptable, value-driven approach. We'll dive into the challenges of SaFe implementation and present actionable strategies to regain agility without losing structure. Our speaker today, Julien, he's a product, tech, and design expert with over 16 years of experience and a very successful track record, skilled in product strategy, PLG, product management and design, team management and design thinking. Now, as a product leader, he's an advocate for lean approaches, product trios, continuous discovery practices, and outcome-driven planifications. So we're really excited to hear your talk, Julien. But before that, I am going to just speak quickly about myself. So I have 4 years experience in project management and operations. I have worked at various B2B and B2C clients, and I am currently an associate product management consultant at Product People. I have a background in biomedical engineering and mechanical engineering, and it's really been an incredible experience to be working with Product People. So what do? We are interim product. This is how we make money. We interim product management services. We do product operations and transformation acceleration by our in-house staff. We also, how we give back, and this is example how we're giving back right now, is that we give back to our community through free events and talks for one of Europe's largest product management communities with over 50,000 members. So we want to get to know you, and so we would like you to and the code for that is 3086780. And if you can go to the poll tab and answer the question, if everyone is familiar with SaFe, and you can answer A, you don't know what that is, you've heard of it. B, but never experienced it. C, I know it, and my company uses some elements of it. And D, I know, and I'm working with this framework. Great, so get your answers into the poll. We would love to hear how familiar you are with the SaFe framework. Okay, so we're getting some answers in. Okay. So some of you are working with this framework. Some of you have heard of it but never experienced it. And okay, don't know what it is. So we really, Julien's really going to help us out in really understanding SaFe. And so thank you to everyone for taking part of the poll. Please, we'll be on the same Slido link later for the Q&A once Julien has presented. But for now, I am going to hand it over to Julien, and looking forward to your talk.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. So I heard that not everyone is very aware of what is SaFe. So let's start. I will share my screen. So does everyone is able to see my screen? Okay, so let's start. So what I'm going to cover today is how to escape the play safe traps. I did a S just because there is multiple traps. Let's start with this number. 70% of transformation fail. The source is from McKinsey, which is a big player in the transformation market. So quite surprising, but honestly, and to be fair, most of this failure is not really due to the safe environment, but it's mostly due to.
Sorry, Julien, 2 seconds. Your screen isn't sharing, so if you can just retry, please.
Okay, sorry. I'll try again.
No worries. I'll let you know when it's. There we go. We got you. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. So you missed. You didn't see the nice transition that I wanted to add. So here again. So the fact is 70% of the transformation fails. And again, this is something from McKinsey. So why does it fail? It's mostly due to the bad implementation that companies and executives are doing of SaFe. So what we need to keep in mind is it's a very complicated market and complicated topic and very sensitive. I'll continue with just covering who am I. So Sarah did provide you a lot of information. I won't go deeper in it, but again, 20 years in the digital field and 12 years in agile methodology, 11 in product management, alongside to 5 as product leader. I had different roles, but the most interesting in this topic is Glady, the current one, Mano Mano, and Odigo, and although DxO, which was my first experience. Fun fact, I'm not from an engineering background, neither business background. I'm from applied arts. It's art in the service of the industry. So it makes a lot of context for me to be very creative in my approach of product management. During my work and my experiences, I had the occasion to see different kind of environment, from very agile, very product, to exactly a SaFe implementation within Odigo. We will cover that later. So the agenda for today, it will, like I said, this will be a very sensitive topic. So there will be a disclaimer first, and then we will cover why, how, and what we can escape to play the safe implementation. So a bit of disclaimer first. Why we need this contextualization? Sorry for my English here. First of all, it's a tough and complicated topic. So currently, it's very trendy to talk about agile versus product management. I know that in the audience, we have among us a few certified people in SaFe. So it's important to say that here it's not about SaFe directly, but the consequences it may carry for product management and their practices. Although it's about my experience of it and the way I was able to escape it at a different time of my career. So a thing to remember here, neither SaFe or SaFe will help you or your organization to create better products. I make a point on create because it's very important for me here. Product management is about creating the product, but according to the Agile Manifesto, Agile is made firstly to develop software in a better way that was with the previous approaches. So who came first between product management and Agile methodology? So here I will just do a brief history of the Agile methodology. So First one was Lean. Lean has started to be used in software development around the late 90s and the early 20s. It was introduced way before by Toyota. So during the 1930s, around something like that, it was about making cars. But in software development, it started in the late 90s. We have Scrum. It arrives in 1995. We have extreme programming as well. It's a different kind of way of better programming. And we have Kanban. Kanban arrived in 04, sorry. And the last one in the field, it's SaFe from 2011. SaFe arrived later. The purpose of SaFe is to scale the agile methodology for bigger business. So it's called Agile at Scale. What you need to know about SaFe, it's a very lucrative business. Keep that in mind. It's a very big market, and it's also well marketed for big companies in order to appeal to them and to the exec. It's very important for them, and because Agile and SaFe especially provide a very well defined and definition about things that reassure the business to find guidelines, and maybe they think this is the best way to scale their companies. So here, what we see that product management existed way before agile methodology. In fact, product management has been introduced in the mid-20s, and the design thinking approach in the 1980s. My point here is that product management existed way before agile methods and should have no impact. The agile methodology should have no impact on the way we craft products. If we want to craft better products, like I said before, we should use design thinking as an approach and not define the way we craft products through the agile methodology. Yeah, sorry. So this is a very, very specific topic. I'm not a big historian of different agile methodology, but like you have seen, there is a lot of them. If you want to deep dive more into this topic, I warmly recommend the Linus Recheski podcast with Melissa Perry. It's about SaFe and Agile. They go way deeper on the different aspects of all the Agile methodology. But it has been a very, very insightful source of inspiration for me. And although to be sure that, product management and Agile methodology, they work alongside, but Agile methodology should not shape the way you create products. Okay, so why? Let's see why it's important for me. So like I said, I had a first experience as a PM in a company which is called DxO. It was a very great environment. We had some ex-executive from Apple. It was a French and American company. So the methodology on product management they come from the US. So it was very, very high level. Although we had some agile approach, that works very in harmony with the product management. So here, everything was by the book in terms of implementation of agile methodology. It was around Scrum, but we had some opportunity to explore the Kanban depending on the context. We had some release every 2 weeks. We were able to test all this release with beta testers all around the world. And as a PM, I was involved in the discovery, but also in everything related to the marketing, pricing, packaging, all the press releases. And then I had some other experience, which were a bit a disappointment. But the big turnover for me was at Odigo. Like I said, Odigo was a B2B2C company. They are specialists in call center for big player in Europe. And their approach was an implementation of SaFe the version 5 at the time. Now we are the version 6. And when what I encountered, it was a clear separation from product management to the delivery and everything related to agile methodology. So in this context, you have two roles to keep in mind: the PM and the PO. And in this context, you also have some PPO, which is called proxy PO, which is someone very technical. Is supposed to split a user story in a technical user story to feed the developer. We can deep dive later in the question or on this experience, but here the point is, I worked in this company for 2 years, more than 2 years, and I tried many times and at different occasions to rebuild the experience that I had before at DxO, for example. It was sometimes a success, but I had a lot of frustration to realize that even if you try to shape the best environment for your small team, here it was me, the PO, and the designer, there was some disconnection. There was something wrong in it. I was more like writing a big user story with no connection to the development phase. And even if I tried my best to keep the best practices that I had before, I didn't feel like it was working for the whole company. So at this point, it was almost the end of my career in terms of product management. But what I learned from this experience is, as a product people, if you are encountering a safe environment, you should avoid to be cut from the delivery and the discovery. You may risk to be trapped in a loop where you have to rush to feed the developer because it's working in cycles with a big quarter, and you are rushing to feed the developer for the next quarter. You also be more likely to be trapped in what we call feature team factories, which is building the next feature and never resolve problematics for the business and the customer. Although the problem in this configuration is you don't have a clear perspective for your product career. It's very unclear about where you can go because there is some PO roles without very clear paths as well. And as a product manager, it's not very clear what do you manage. In fact, do you manage the strategy? Do you manage the delivery, the product? It's very unclear, and most of the time, there is a lot of turnover around this part. Like I said, at Odigo, I was almost pretty sure that I wanted to end my career of product management because I tried to make it better, like I said, and I also tried to find other companies with an environment like I experienced at DxO, but it was not the case. And I had to wonder, okay, what I'm going to bring to the product community now. And wanted to have a new missions, new role for me. So it was in my introduction about who am I. Here, what I decided to do is to bring better product environment to product teams. And I realized that as a PM, I was not able to change things. So I need to change my perspective and started to be a leader. I had this occasion at Mano Mano, where I became a group product manager. And then from there, I decided to encourage product practices and help the team to solve problems that will also address business outcomes, but also users' outcomes. It's very important to keep in mind that we need to serve both and not only be user-centric, like we can hear a lot of time. So it's also important to remind that neither SaFe or any agile methodology will teach you and your product team how to solve these kind of problems. You have to provide them the right environment. This kind of environment is very also key if you want to keep your product team, attract talents, and avoid turnover. I'll be brief on this one, or maybe it can be long if you want some example, but as a business, why it's important to avoid playing safe. Here, it's all about preserving your competitiveness and your time to market. Safe may be fine for a big player if you're a leader in your field and you have no real challenge, but it's less likely to stay like that in the long run, especially if you find a new player on the market will be able to disrupt it. And SaFe is about a long cycle. Like I said, it's very slow due to a very, very constrained framework where you have, again, to prepare PIs and most of the product increment, which is a part of the SaFe methodology. It's preparing an entire quarter about everything you want to deliver on this quarter. The constraint here, if you want to react on the market and be able to react to a new competitor that launch a new feature, it will be very difficult to manage this in SaFe since you have to an engagement on a whole quarter. This is where this kind of practices is less agile than it wants to be. There is an example. I won't go deep dive. I will let you deep dive on it. It's about Waternet. It was a water company from the Netherlands. The use case is they implemented SaFe, at least an agile transformation, and they go bankrupt after that. I'll let you read and find the story on internet, but it's very interesting. And it's although what can really happen to a lot of companies if they don't implement SaFe in a good way, and although in order to resolve their real problems. So how could you avoid it? Here I will just focus on the leader part, because like I said, when I was a PM, it was, at least I realized that it was not possible at this level. You need to really embrace the leader part. Here, it's not about just being a leader, but I really wanted to help teams to find a better way to work. So first of all, and from my experiences and most of the companies that I have witnessed that have implemented SaFe, vision is key. Why vision is key is because without a proper vision, there will be no strategy and no organization. Why it impacts the organization is because you need to keep in mind that organization is here to serve the strategy. If you don't have a strategy, no vision, you won't have a clear organization. And this is mostly when company tries to implement SaFe or any agile methodology in order to fix this problem. Bad organization have a lot of dependencies. And for example, at Mano Mano, the company scaled too fast and too big with too many teams, and they encountered a lot of dependency. And the idea is, if we implemented SaFe, if we implemented trains and everything related to SaFe, we will resolve the problem of dependency, which is not the case, in fact, because the problem was more around the strategy and the organization itself, not about the dependencies. Dependencies are not, it's not a fatality. You have to fix this, but in order to fix this, you need to find a proper vision and a proper strategy for your company. And again, SaFe methodology won't help here. As a leader, you need to be curious or stay curious, depending on if you are joining or already there in an organization. You need to dedicate time to do your discovery, interview as many people as you can do in a company. There are always good reasons, good or bad, in fact, that led to agile methods to take over on the product management side. You need to be careful about why it has been like that in order to provide a solution. Like I said, vision is mostly, or at least in my experience, was most of the case, the main reason that drives to this situation. But there is some other, and you need to like a PM, do your discovery to understand why and how you can solve things. Another one which is very important for me is to foster a discovery culture. It's very important, but how you do that, we will see that later with a proper approach. You need to keep in mind that in the current time, although discovery has been very used, and it's more like a wasted terms today. It will be sounds like a hollow words for the business. It threatens the stakeholders most of the time. So here the point is, when you foster a discovery culture, it's fine to have a lot of methodology that comes from different kind of product people. It's always interesting, but keep in mind that it's a very, very specific language. All of us, we are very able to understand this language, share it, embrace it, which is very important for us. But you need to keep in mind that the business doesn't speak this language. And if you want to foster this kind of discovery culture in your team, you need also to be able to share it and make it clear for the people you are working with in the company. Here, it's very important to build the trust or rebuild the trust that most of the time you have lost. We said before that in the SaFe context, it's very complicated to keep people. Another thing that you have to implement or work on is to provide a clear product career path to your team. So this is something very important. So here is the why. We have covered the how you can do that in practice, and I will focus specifically on what we have done at Glady for the past years. So at Glady, once I have done my discovery, understand the context, so what I learned is Glady had probably, and no, it's not probably, it was sure that they had the same issue that Mano had before, because the two companies had some exchanges about how to implement Scrum, for example, and also how to implement a part of SaFe. To be clear here, it was not an entire implementation of SaFe. They did at Glady a lot of work around Scrum, and Scrum was taking a lot of place. And at some point, they wanted to have more PO like PMs. And they decided to take from SaFe the PI increment. So PI increment, again, it's when you prepare and you have a cycle of development for a quarter. So this part, most of the time, is implemented because you have some challenge to communicate what we call the roadmap to the stakeholders. So in order to provide a clear tool of communication, you decide to implement PI plannings, which is not, again, the proper answer, in fact, because, again, the lack of strategy and vision was more the problem hidden behind. Again, on this part, at Glady, most of the challenges was around, although the safe implementation of PI plannings and the dependencies that a bad or not clear organization has produced. Glady as well has scaled fast with a lot of roles, and the design of the team was sometimes component team, another time feature factories, which is very, very complicated to manage if you want to avoid dependencies and have a clear empowerment and a clear scope for the different teams. So in order to address the different problems, we decided to implement our own approach. It's not a proper methodology. Again, this is nothing new. I want to highlight this point as well. it's a combination of OKR, continuous discovery practices, and design thinking. And this is, again, something that already exists in different kind of books and methodology. What is the point of the different level on this representation? First flow, most important one is once you have the vision and you have a proper strategy that you align with the business, we wanted to keep, it's okay to keep a quarter to work on things, but here it's shaped by OKRs and not by a PI planning like in SaFe. We wanted to keep this pace, but here the differences is you shift from a output-driven methodology to outcome-driven methodology. So one of the problem when I joined Glady was by working on PI planning, they had a lot of empty backlogs. They had the fear of the next quarter because they were stressed about what they are going to produce. So what we need to reintroduce here is OKR shape your entire work, but you are working on a continuous basis. So here, this is where we decided although to try something new like continuous interview, which is practices from Teresa Torres' book. But although the point here is you have a continuous way of working. Every day you came to work to identify opportunities, go alongside this opportunity and develop an opportunity solution tree. And then you have to identify what we call the hypothesis and find the solution that will address the opportunity in the best way. This is something you do in a continuous basis. This is why you like to go to work, because you have to work with your product trio. This is very important as well. We will cover that later. But here, again, everything is shaped by the OKR on a quarter basis. So everything you want to address during this quarter is supposed to address your outcomes that you have defined for the quarter. But this is a continuous approach, which means that if for any reason you want to address a new outcome on the market, you should be able to address this new outcome if it makes sense for the business and the users. And because you are continuously doing some interview with the client, you are supposed to find directly the opportunities that could address it. So on this way of working, which is very important, is that it's not only the product manager who do the job. It's called the product team, in fact, and the product team is made on a basic approach from a product manager, a product designer, and an IT lead or a tech lead, depending on your context. Here, this is the three of the people of the team that will address the different opportunity and find the solution and the best solution that will address the opportunity. You can extend this trio with product manager, and PMMs, and also some data analysts. The point here is to mitigate the risk. Every time you have to address an opportunity or a solution, you will also work with the data analyst to have some metrics background and identify the best way to measure the success. Plus, you have the PMMs that will help you to have a value analysis on different opportunity. Some opportunities are big and risky, so you really need to have here a clear value analysis, and some other ones are more like hanging fruits, and it's more likely to have 90% to address the objective. So this one is easy. So you always have to have this kind of prioritization. On the very bottom, we have the delivery phase, because here it's very important to keep in tracks and stay focused on the delivery. But again, this part is very at the bottom of it, because it's not supposed to shape your discovery or your interview practices. It's just only about delivering in a better way, in a continuous way. So here, there is no specific methodology. It can be any methodology that you want to use. is less likely to be SaFe because SaFe wants to take over on the upper levels of what we have seen just before. Again, although because SaFe has made a clear separation, like Scrum, in fact, about the PO role and the PM role. It's true for Scrum, but only in the last version of the Scrum Guide. It was not the case in the previous and the original Scrum Guide. But now in the Scrum Guide, you have, like in SaFe, a separation between PO and PM. Although at the bottom of this product paradigm at Glady, we have another part which is important is lean UX, how to improve and always improve what you have put in production, not stop working on it because it has been delivered. It's also measuring success and getting feedback, and although improve or kill the feature, which is important. I'll let you deep dive if you are not aware of Teresa Torres' book. I encourage you to read this book. It's very important. Everything related to opportunity solution tree is based from our book. So last part, because we are almost running out of time. Like I said, it's very important also to provide to your team a clear career path. At Glady, there was many roles, which, from my point of view, you need to have a very clear but simple career path. Product management with levels of seniority, product designer with level of seniority. You have lead UX and data analyst, group product manager, which is something that not very used in Europe, but very important pivotal role if you want, as a product manager, to try yourself as a manager. So we can go on this part during the question. You have head of products for sure. And the CPO, head of product and CPO, it depends really on the size of your company. And you also have other roles. Like I said, you can find PMMs, which is very important. But if you don't have PMM in your context or in your company, everything related to the value analysis is done by the product manager. And sometimes you can find also lead PM, which is something that I don't recommend, in fact, because it's quite complicated sometimes to articulate it, especially when you have group product managers. And last point, I wanted to highlight the fact that if you want everything that we have seen before to work, you also need to have a coaching, a very, very important coaching as a leader of your team around 3 axes, major axes: product knowledge of the processes and the technique, and the people management and accountability. For the first section is everything related to the user, clients, data, market, industry, the business, and your own product. So you need to have this knowledge, and you need to evaluate it on a regularly basis with your people in the product team. The knowledge of processes is about the discovery technique and delivery technique, which is also very important, and the optimization of product techniques. And the last one, the people management and accountability. It's everything relating to how you collaborate within the team, the stakeholders, which is very important, and although the leadership skills and everything related to the product evangelizations. This is not a term that I really like, but it's like I said, product management can be very complicated to understand for other people, and you need to have some very good skills in order to explain it with the same language that is used by the business. A few takeaways for today. So if you want to encounter a safe environment, first things you need to do is to understand why it's there. And then the rest is everything that we have seen before. You need to build this discovery culture. You need to use OKR, outcomes, do your discovery continuously with the customers, and build opportunity solution tree, and use design thinking method and especially the product trio in order to find the best solution that works both for the user and the business. again, the career path. And yeah, very important also to coach the team. So this is it for me. Very open to question. It's a very, very tough topic, and there is a lot of things to do. So I had to go fast on some part, but don't hesitate to ask questions.
Thank you so much, Julien. There we go. Thank you so much, Julien. That was, oh, sorry. I just want to make sure that, can you see the screen?
Yep.
Cool, let me. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much, Julien. That was really insightful. And yeah, the people management side of it was the last thing about the coaching is something that I think's very paramount in that. So thank you, everyone. Here's the Slido QR code, and you can share your questions with us. Please let me know if you can access to it. I know it was some, okay, it's disappeared again. Let me try again. Apologies for the, okay, there we go. There's the QR code. So please share any questions you have, and Julien will answer them all. Just a quick more about us is just where you'll find us. We take interim product management positions. We cover permanent positions, parental leave, and also important other urgent initiatives. We also do program management and product operations, where we upskill your product management team, and also streamline processes and programs. Then we also do transformation acceleration, and that's if you need to shift from sales or tech-led to product-led, and we configure your product strategy. So there's a host of different use cases where you can find us. And these are some of our previous B2C clients that we have worked with. So you'll see Zalando, Tier, FreeNow, and there's many others. And then here are some of the B2B companies which we have worked for, and that's big names are here, including World Health Organization, Havi, Utopia, and whatnot. Okay, just a bit about stats about product people before we get into those nitty-gritty questions. We have 300 cross-functional teams supporting 70 plus clients, from Series A startups to publicly listed companies, 42 product leaders and product managers who are in-house and full-time. And then we also have 62% are women in our team, with 66% in leadership. We have a strong bias to promote from within our firm, and attract more women than the other tech industry average, all thanks to our skills before CV's hiring process. So thank you. I'm going to get into the questions now, and we have a few already on Slido. And so the first one is that you advocate for a strong discovery culture, Julien. How can organizations using SaFe integrate continuous discovery without disrupting the existing cadence?
Well, this is a tough part, especially with a full implemented SaFe environment, because here what can be complicated is to find the balance between an entire delivery phase and how and when you do the discovery. What can be done, and I know that it can work on some cases, is start before doing continuous discovery, implement OKR. If you are able to implement OKR in a safe environment, you will be likely to shift from output to outcome. And when you go to outcomes, it's about solving problems. And here, this is where you will be more likely to do interview and continuous interview and try to mix it with your safe environment. If you are only in safe without OKR and you are just building feature for the stakeholders, it will be more a discovery about how I can build the best feature on but about what the business asked me to do, and not about a problem to solve, which will address in a better way the problematic of the company. So I think before doing it, again, from a continuous discovery practices, you need to implement OKR and outcomes, because it's linked. Your discovery needs to serve an outcome.
Great, thank you. We've got another one here. How can organizations shift their focus from SaFe's rigid frameworks towards a more value-driven, customer-centric approach?
Well, it will be more like the same response, in fact. If you want to help the business to understand that it's more valuable to work on outcomes more than on outputs. And the best way to do that is try to implement OKR. It's something that we tried and we started to implement at Mano Mano, for example. So like I said, at Mano Mano, they started to implement SaFe in order just to tackle all the dependencies between the teams. But when we tried to implement OKR within it, this is where they realized that the vision had a problem, because we were not able to find a clear set of OKR. It's mostly recommended to have 3, not more than in terms of OKR. And at Mano Mano, at some point, there were we had 14 OKR per quarter, and all this set of OKR were changing from quarter to quarter, which means that there is no clear strategy. And this helps the business to realize, okay, this is something here, missing here. And the challenge at Mano Mano was they were not able to decide either they are e-commerce marketplace marketplace or just a tech company which is able to sell this marketplace solution to other companies. And this is where they had a challenge. In the end, I'm not sure they have been able to find the solution, but at least OKR helps to realize that there is a problem here.
Great, thank you. There's one more here from the Slido is, what are the top 3 misconceptions teams have when implementing SaFe, and how do you address these?
Wow. Most of the time, it's implementing SaFe is not on the team level first. It's like I said, SaFe appeals to executive most of the time, and it's usually provided by big firm like McKinsey, we have seen before, in order to perform a transformation in big companies. Big companies, most of the time that decide to use SaFe, it's companies that never have been in software development before, for example, banks, water company, but they decided to go agile. And this is where SaFe is very well marketed, because for this kind of company, it's provide a safe environment and definition of how you can put in motion an agile transformation. But in the end, it won't help. So I don't know how to respond to this question, honestly, because again, it's not on the team level. But as a team level, you are able to show the company that there is some other way to do it. But again, you need to have at least an entire stream, or I don't know how your organization is, but you need to provide an example at a lower level to show them that it works. But again, you need to also have, be backed by your product leader as well.
Great, thank you for answering that. In the best of your ability, I know it was a bit of a tricky one, especially. Okay, there's one. I mean, you did speak about outcomes already, and the viewers just want to know who should define them according to your viewpoints. Who should define these outcomes?
So there is two type of outcomes, but first we have a strategic OKR. And this kind of OKR, it's mainly business. Okay, it's making money, it's sales number and everything, and this is fine. This is why a company should exist. You're here to, even if you have a great mission, you need to make money. So, for example, this kind of strategic OKR, it's fine at a strategic level, but as a product leader with your team, you have the mission to translate this kind of OKR into outcome for the product and for the business. And this kind of outcomes, it should be negotiable. Something that product leader, CPO, or head of product should propose to the team, but the team has the ability to say no if it's unclear. And this is why it's negotiable, unless you find the right one that the product team, they will decide to try to complete or achieve it for a quarter basis, for example.
Okay, great. I think that also goes into the next one is how often, you did touch on it now, how often do you reflect upon or reevaluate your OKRs and your KPIs?
Yeah.
That was a question.
So it's another topic, and it could be an entire presentation as well on this one. If you want to address this kind of measure, you have two types of measure. You have the lagging measure, which is more of the business measure. Lagging measure, it's something that you will be able to validate at a year level. So this is not something that a product team wants to use. In fact, it's going to be too complicated to see if we are going to progress, and what we have produced helps to progress on this measure. This is why you also need to have leading measure, which is at the team level. And the leading measure is something that you should be able to measure at least every 2 weeks. And this helps you to go to see towards how you progress on the objective. So you have two types of metrics here, leading and lagging measure, and you have to mix them. And the more you go mature on it, the more you will be able to use lagging measure and leading measure well.
Great, thank you for answering that one too. There's another one here, and it says you combine the PO and the SM roles into one. Do you have a conflict when this PM pushes the team and they cannot actually deliver what they request by the time needed?
If it's related to Glady, we didn't merge any PO and PM's roles. The context at Glady was specific because it was not purely SaFe. They really wanted to implement Scrum, but the last version of Scrum, as I said, in the last version of Scrum, it's about PO and not PMs. And this is what I discovered there. Again, it's not that easy to make someone which is a PO go on a PM side, because it's fine. If you don't want to be a PM, it's going to be maybe tough, or just you don't want to do it. But we didn't merge it. It can be very complex, in fact. It's two different roles again. It's very easy to be PO because you're here to manage a team, feed the team, and this is fine. But if you want to develop the skills to be a PM, it's still possible, but you have to engage with it and decided to go along with it.
Great, thank you for answering all those questions. We will close up the Q&A, and just really want to thank you for your time, Julien. Just as we end off here, just let everyone know that we are currently hiring. So please scan the QR codes and see the available positions. And then also, as we love to share our knowledge and share other PM's knowledge here, is please subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll share some interesting product stories and insights. And then next week, Tuesday, we also have another live stream. And this is about AI layoffs and market shifts, and how can product managers stay sane through this all. This is with Elena Shapoval, who's a senior product manager at Vulcan Health. So please come and join us, and we'll see you at the next live stream. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we hope you found it insightful.